you sort of tiptoe around your boss. And I think that's commonplace, not just with Vince, but with a lot of industries and a lot of businesses. But around this time, Shawn starts to push back a little bit and becomes a little bit more difficult to deal with, and becomes more about, I'm going to do what I want to do. And allegedly, according to the rumor and innuendo, a fan that Shawn never met died around this time and left Shawn $2.5 million. Allegedly, this is a super fan of Shawn's, a male who Shawn had never met. And all of a sudden he gets notified, hey, you're a millionaire. You've just inherited $2.5 million from a stranger. And this would come up in January of 96 at a press conference. And Shawn was furious at the question and shut it down and said no comment. But it feels like one of those, if there's smoke, there's fire situations. What do you remember about Shawn inheriting a bunch of cash, millions, from an anonymous fan?
I have always heard that rumor, and I cannot tell you if that is fact or fiction. I always heard the story that, the guy left Shawn all this money. Wouldn't surprise me, but I never point blank ever asked Shawn, hey, did you inherit a bunch of money from people? I've had those that have sworn that was the case and that he became a millionaire overnight and got all this money. I've also had people that swear that it was a work and that it never happened. So, short of asking Shawn personally myself, I never have. I just don't know.
All right. Big time rumor and innuendo here. This was in the dirt sheets all the time. Shawn's quote unquote millionaire benefactor. Of course, Bruce says he doesn't know if it's real or not. You know my take on it. I do believe it's true. Do you think it's true though? And I got to tell you, it might actually make a lot of sense in hindsight when you hear how sort of Shawn had the bravado to push back on Vince. For so many years, I feel like a lot of talent, they have to reconcile, okay, this is really the way I feel, but if I express it like that, I may lose my livelihood, and I can't afford to do that. I got a wife, I got the kids, I got a mortgage. But if you got all this influx of cash, well, that changes the dynamic a little bit. I think they call it in the movies, fuck you money. So if Shawn had fuck you money, hey, I don't want to do that, so fuck you, I'm not. Then yeah, I could see how your swagger could go to 9 all of a sudden, because this is not a job you have to have. This is something you enjoy doing. And if it ain't fun, well, I don't have to do it anymore. I got to think there's something to that. But I knew that Bruce would probably not confirm it, because here's the other thing. Does Bruce go up to the guy and say, hey, so Shawn, did a stranger really leave you a bunch of money? That's a weird conversation, right? And it is kind of cool and weird to see Bruce dropping Jericho's name on the show. I don't think that's going to happen very much these days. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it's fun to go back and listen to these shows sort of out of context of today and in the context of the time, because this is, well, pre the wrestling world changing. So anyway, I don't know. This millionaire benefactor, what say you? Is it real? Did you believe this? Or is it just rumor and innuendo that you read in the Torch or somewhere else? Shoot us a tweet. We want to hear from you at Prichard Show. Let's get back to it.
Who believed it? Who swore that he did?
I think God, one person that comes to mind was Ted DiBiase, who had told me at the time, yeah, Shawn got this inheritance and got all this money. He doesn't need this. On the other side, there were people that just poo-pooed it. And I want to say maybe his friends poo-pooed it. Is to, there's not really much anything there. Maybe he got something, didn't get millions of dollars. But I think it was just people telling stories and people perpetuating what was already out there, because Shawn also did that a lot. He'll perpetuate, if they're talking about him,
yep,
he's going to get them talking louder.
He just likes to stir it up and create discourse.
Yes. Likes to poke. As I told Chris Jericho last night, he knew how to poke the bear and liked to poke the bear.
I love your just name dropping, Roll Tide. So Shawn makes his return to wrestling on October 18th, but it's not for the WWF. It's for the USWA. This is sort of standard fare at the time, right? If you've got somebody coming back to TV, go down to Memphis and work the ring rust off before you get on the big TV, right?
Sure. They didn't have an NXT or a place where guys could go in a developmental area. So we did have Memphis, put them on the card, let them go down there and work a few shots and get your ring legs back.
Meltzer really took issue with something you guys did around this time. Surprise, surprise. You started doing segments on WWF TV where the fans could vote as to whether or not Shawn Michaels should be allowed back in the WWF. And of course, he was coming back no matter what the result of the voting was. But on Monday Night Raw, you're promoting the 900 line as a way to vote. And you're saying that the results would be binding as to whether or not Shawn Michaels would remain suspended or he might be reinstated. Of course, this was done after you guys had already decided on a return date, and Meltzer felt like this was fraud, which I kind of think is funny. Because it's clearly tongue in cheek and you would think everybody would sort of be in on the gag, but he felt like if the fans were voting and being told that this was a real legitimate vote, that you guys should honor it. Whose idea was it to have, this be a way to promote the 900 line? And did you guys take any sort of second thought to Meltzer's criticism here?
I don't give a first thought to any of Meltzer's criticisms on pretty much anything, could care less. But it was a way to gauge audience interest. And yeah, we already had everything set, but we wanted to get interest in things and get people's temperature on a lot of things. We would always try those things just to see where do they really stand. You can listen to the audience a lot and think you know where they're at, but you could do a poll too, and they'll tell you exactly what they want and what they don't want.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.